What is up? Okay, issues already. Can you guys hear me now? Without any issues, maybe? Yeah, I'm still in the process of trying to figure out these live streams. I have half of my setup now, so it's really annoying. I have a computer, one monitor. I just got the camera about an hour ago, so I haven't had time to fix that. I have a laptop, and it's just like everything is just a mess. Um, I'm getting a lot of lag as well for some reason. So I don't know if you guys are hearing that on your end. And then I'm also dying with allergies as well, so that's fantastic. All right, okay, maybe it's just on my end. So how is everyone? How is getting on? Apologies again. It's so yeah, I'm getting severe lag on my end. I'm not sure if anyone's wondering why I keep pausing and stuff. That's why. Um yeah, I have a really good streaming camera. But I'm not sure why. Yeah. Look, we'll just have to get into it, and hopefully next week I'll finally have this thing set up somewhat better. You're gonna have to forgive me as well. I'm kind of under the weather today, so I'm a little bit super super low energy. So yeah, you just have to bear with me. What's everyone been watching? Yeah, I definitely feel that one. I've only watched a few things recently, to be honest. But yeah, I suppose we'll just get cracking straight into it. Swedish Horror says Ozark and Hemlock Grove. Jeez, I haven't watched them in so long. I really like Hemlock Grove. I got really into that. Anyone see anything about Eli Roth's Borderlands? What do you think of that? And Get Out, one of my favorite movies ever. Actually, I considered. I can't remember the name of the company. It could be Everything Blue, maybe. They released a collector's edition of Get Out, and I was like mad to buy it, but I don't know. It ended up being like 60 or 70 euros. Hemlock Grove was poor. I thought, really, man, I thought that was all right. Like, it's not great, but it was decent. And you hated Get Out. Oh man, it is a very Marmite movie though. Some people think it's absolutely shocking. and then other people seem to love it. To be honest, when I first went to see it in the cinema, I actually didn't really care for it at all. I thought it was quite shite, to be honest with you. But just over time, I've grown to absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite films. The one thing I can't take away from it either is that twist. And I know I probably should have saw it coming, being a huge horror fan, but that twist where it was just so well acted when he's coming down the stairs and then he realizes the whole family are out to get him. I really got caught by that, to be honest with you. The directing in Hemlock are so flat. 2 hours of dribble. I can see why people like it. I don't overly like this type of film. Yeah, you know what? I normally don't either. So I was kind of surprised that I actually liked this one. Because it's not normally my kind of thing, to be honest with you. So yeah, this week, I guess we'll get straight into it. I have my notes again. So um you're probably gonna see me looking multiple directions all the time because I haven't actually got this set up properly. I'll be looking at notes. I'll be looking at the screen in front of me. I'll be trying to look at the camera right here. I'll be looking at the laptop monitor. I'll be looking at the mixer. I just have shit all over the place. Um, haven't seen Us, but we're going. Yeah, so here's an example. I actually thought I loved Us when I saw it, but I realized I just liked little sections of the movie. And overall, I actually showed it to someone a while back, and I was hyping it up and talking about it, and they were just like, "That was it." I was like, "Yeah, it was kind of trash, actually, wasn't it?" Candyman, I am excited for though. I will say that he was one of the first, I guess, horror icons that I was like genuinely afraid of. I thought the twist about 30 minutes before it was shown. Yeah, I genuinely didn't. Maybe just I had gotten caught up in the story or whatever, and didn't realize. But yeah, I don't know if I didn't see it coming or it was just how well it was acted. Like the look of shock on his face when he starts kind of crying, and he's just like completely taken aback to the fact that they're about to do some weird shit to him. Really liked Us. Yeah, Us is fun. Us is fun. Again, it's very Marmite though. I think it's like people will love it or hate it. Greg says rewatch Candyman there a few weeks ago, man. It's grim as fuck. It is actually grim as fuck. I don't know if you guys can see this. I actually have a Candyman tattoo. I don't know if I can't move from where I am right now because I'll probably knock everything over. But yeah, Candyman was one of those characters that I was like afraid of for fucking years, man. I used to see him at night and shit. Um, yeah, it's a really raw, like visceral kind of film. But yeah. So one of the first films I watched in the last week is one I haven't revisited in a long time actually, and it's 2002's 28 Days Later, directed by Danny Boyle, who you probably obviously know from Train Spotting, The Beach, Slumdog Millionaire, 127 Hours. Stars Killian Murphy, who's been in Batman Begins. Peaky Blinders is probably where most people know him from. Naomi Harris and Brendan Gleeson, obviously, as well. Another Irishman. Uh, Greg says 28 Days Later is unreal. And I will agree with you there. It is absolutely unreal and might be a little bit controversial, but I also love 28 Weeks Later. Um, so let's have a look here for the one person that might watch this after the live, or maybe right now watching it and doesn't know what this movie is about or based on. So, a group of animal rights activists break into a lab and release monkeys from their cages to rescue them, despite warnings from a scientist that the monkeys are contagious. As a result of the animal rights activists' actions, a virus that the monkeys contained rapidly spreads across Great Britain and infects numerous people. Jim, who fell into a coma following a bike accident shortly before the virus was released, emerges from his coma and finds that London is deserted. He realizes that he is not alone, as within the city There are those that have been infected and those that have not. Jim manages to find more survivors and they head out to Manchester, where a group of British military personnel offer protection to any survivors from the infected. However, Jim and his colleagues have no idea what they're in for. So that's just your I guess your basic synopsis for the movie. Let's see. See him at night. Hate him when Tony Todd randomly appears. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel that Swedish Horror Nerd. Greg says 28 Weeks Later is very, very good as well. Robert Carlyle is brilliant. Jeremy Renner is so good as well. Yeah, I love that. And I just love the whole there's so many I suppose I don't want to get into that film too much because we're talking about the first one, but there's so many fun parts in 28 Weeks Later. Like that opening scene, man, is I don't know why, but it's fucking horrifying. The thought of that happening. And then, when we get to the city and you've got the snipers up on the roofs and they're picking off people or they're giving the order to shoot anybody at ground level. All that stuff. I just thought that was really well done. Where he bursts the priestess off on it. Yeah, there's some weird stuff in it, man. Your opinions are always controversial. We're used to it at this point. Well, yeah, but I do get that from time to time because I like movies that a lot of people think are trash. Like, I actually enjoy watching things like Halloween Resurrection and stuff. So that gets me a lot of shit. So I tried to put together some fun facts for this movie. So Alex Garland and Danny Boyle did a lot of research into social unrest, drawing ideas from things that happened in Rwanda and Sierra Leone, such as the piling of bodies inside churches. But they originally, I think, were talking about using actual footage from these different incidents and whatever in the opening montage. All footage featuring dead bodies and desecration of bodies was faked, however. Um, that was something when I listened to the director's commentary for this, there was a lot of little things like that that I was actually really intrigued to find out about the making of this movie. Um, the scenes that are shot all over London, I think, was a story in itself. It's amazing that they managed to pull it off. So police apparently would close roads at like 4 a.m. And I'm not sure if this is true or not, but apparently there was talks of them using like good looking girls to stand on the blocked roads and whatever to try and convince drivers to turn around. And one of them apparently was Danny Boyle's daughter. I don't know if there's any actual truth to that story, but um, yeah, just how they managed to shoot some of them scenes. Because when you look back at the movie, it's so iconic that like it's actually crazy that they managed to pull off as well as they did. And they only had minimal time, but the shots they got, it genuinely made it feel like Cillian Murphy was walking around London and there wasn't a soul, and the place had just been left, which I thought was amazing, to be honest with you. Um, they also felt that the brain-eating zombies was old news, and one of the original ideas was based around nuclear power and its effect on people. After much research, they decided that mankind's biggest fears laid in disease, especially viral apocalypse such as Ebola or bioterrorism scares. Which again, I mean, in the times we're in right now, it's what are we in June 2021? So where some people are calling it post pandemic or whatever. I don't think it is, but now I guess that's more prevalent than ever because the last 12, 14 months has just been fucking psychotic, really. Um, Many people consider this movie a zombie flick, but honestly, I think it's way, way, way more than that. Uh, of course, it has, your zombie esque infected, but I don't think very often in these movies we see a movie that's created with like such horrific beauty. The sights across London that are left barren and silent in the aftermath of an outbreak, the decisions that the remaining survivors are forced to make using violence against violence. It creates a strange kind of dynamic. Um, as rage is a completely man-made disease, if you think about it, and then they end up actually, this thing becomes like a rage virus. It also shows that mankind is much more vulnerable than we think, and the fears that we have can become very real. but it also brings to the forefront the true horrors of humans and the world we've created. Um, yeah, I think it focuses on a lot deeper stuff um than a lot of people give it credit for. Very good movie, very grim movie when you think about it. Um, and I know obviously it can seem a little bit far fetched, but I do feel like that they kept it as realistic as they could, considering the basis for the film. Um, and another scene that really creeps me out in that first movie is, I don't know if anybody remembers, but there's a scene where Jim walks into a church and Jim walks into a church and there's some infected or whatever it is, and they look up at him with this expression. I don't even know how to, it's like a shocked expression, but I'm not sure why, but it fucking terrified me for a long time. Even watching it again recently, I was like, Jesus, that's absolutely grim. Yeah, the bit with the when he bursts the priest. Um, yeah, it's a very well done movie though, and the sequel is equally as yeah, I would say equally as good. Um, I know there had been for years there was talks of 28 months later. Don't know whatever happened to that. I'd love to see Danny Boyle come back and do something, but I don't think he will at this stage. So yeah, 28 days later, definitely worth a revisit. I'm gonna revisit that movie, I think, more often now than I have. Uh, very enjoyable, very enjoyable. So up next was one I came across on Shudder recently. I've been doing this a lot where I'll just see what's in the newly added or recommended or whatever, and I'll just pop on a movie without really looking at too much about it. Sometimes I'll flick through the reviews, but it's hard because I mean, movies and stuff are subjective. Like, there's so many movies I like that many people don't like, and vice versa. So you kind of have to make your own decisions, unless something's just terribly made. It's hard to actually critique, the basis for a movie or the plot of a movie or whatever. Um, but yeah. So Greg says not the same level, but very enjoyable double. Yeah, 100%. It's definitely not, as highly regarded as the other one, but it's a fun sequel. I would have liked to have seen Danny Boyle have more, um, I guess, involvement with the whole thing, but whatever. It is what it is. So the next movie up is Monstrous. So I think it's a Shudder original, as far as I know. Um, directed by Bruce, directed by Bruce Temple, who has also done Lake Artifact, Altered Hours, written by Anna Shields, who also stars in it. This guy definitely has a cryptid slash maybe extraterrestrial kind of background. So the synopsis is: a young woman goes searching for answers after her friend mysteriously vanishes in Whitehall, New York, a town known for its Bigfoot sightings. She quickly learns that hiding in the woods is an evil more sinister than she could ever imagine. This one actually, Swedish Horror Nerd probably like this. It's kind of a Bigfoot-ish movie. My notes for this are like super small here, because I did not enjoy this movie because I went into it thinking it was a Bigfoot movie. So, Swedish Horror Nerd, you are going to be disappointed, I think, in a way. Um, yes, Bigfoot, yeah. He doesn't play as big a part as you might think. So let's have a look. Yeah, so like I said, what I had down here was people who were coming into this expecting a Bigfoot or creature movie are going to be hugely disappointed. I would liken it more to a thriller slash drama with Bigfoot in it for some reason. Honestly, I normally like these kind of movies, but this was a tough watch. Only because I was expecting a creature feature. The other storyline in the movie is decent though. and kept me interested for the most part. As usual, when the story isn't the best towards the middle, towards the, kind of as we're getting to the final act, I sort of lost interest in what was going on and checked out of the story. Decent watch, but just do not go into it expecting to see a Bigfoot movie or a creature feature or anything like that. Bigfoot is there, but he's not a main part of the story. Honestly, I don't even know why he's in it really. There's not there's not a lot of explanation as to why. Um, I don't know. I don't know if I'd recommend it, to be totally honest with you. Um, yeah, it's not really for me, but look, it is what it is. Okay, just bear with me 1 second, guys. I just need to do something here. I'm getting a black screen on this monitor, so I'm just going to pull something up. I will be back in 30 seconds. Okay, I'm back. I'm not sure what's going on with that. So, drama thriller with Bigfoot. So it's Basic Instinct with Bigfoot. Bigfoot Instinct. Yeah, I like that name actually. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's like I said, I don't know if I'd recommend it. I actually think that they released I don't know if it's a sequel or part of the same universe or whatever. I think it's called The Retreat. Same guy. It's on Shudder now at the minute as well. I was actually looking forward to watching that, but after seeing this, I don't know. I don't know if I'm overly sold on it, to be honest with you. Up next, we have Orphan from 2009. I don't know. Again, this is a movie that I feel like got some decent feedback at the time, but is underrated for the most part. So, the director, okay, this guy's name, I'm gonna absolutely butcher this. So I'm not even gonna bother saying it. It's the guy who done the House of Wax remake, which I absolutely love. Definitely in my top 10 favorite comfort horror movies. He also done the Shallows, and he is doing the new Black Adam, which will be quite interesting. So, just a quick plot breakdown. Kate and John Coleman are rebuilding their troubled marriage after the loss of their baby. The couple decide to adopt a child. When they meet 9-year-old Esther at the St. Marina's orphanage, they immediately fall in love with the well educated orphan. Their son Daniel is hostile to his new sister, but their deaf mute daughter Max is enchanted with her at first. Eventually, Kate begins to feel that Esther is manipulative and possibly even psychologically damaged. John refuses to listen to his wife's misgivings. Kate calls Sister Abigail at the orphanage, and the nun informs her that Esther has a troubled and mysterious history. Kate delves further into Esther's past and discovers she is not who she seems to be. So, like Greg says here in the comments, good movie, enjoyed every time I watch it. Yeah, for sure. I actually had forgotten how good this movie is. Very, very good. I'm definitely going to move it up in my watch list, I think, and revisit it more often. I haven't seen this in years, and I actually watched it with somebody, and they really enjoyed it. They were like, "I want to see another movie like that," and this person wouldn't consider themselves a horror fan, really. So that was quite cool to see. Um, yeah, like I said, I forgot how great this movie is. Isabel Furman, who plays Esther, is absolutely amazing. She has scenes after she sees Kate and John having sex in the kitchen, and just the way she to consider that she was so young at the time, and she was able to act at this uh level. She she says, back to Kate when Kate says, when two people love each other, they like to express that love or whatever. And she says, "Yeah, I know they fuck." Uh, like the delivery of that was absolutely amazing, and it actually, I think it elicits the same response as Kate kind of gave. The audience have the same response of kind of like you're a little bit taken aback and like, Jesus Christ, that's okay, fair enough. Um, and then there's a scene where she's trying to seduce John, and it's so well acted. I think it's actually hard to watch. I don't know, and I'm not saying anything against Peter Skarsgård, but I don't know if I'd be able to do that. Now, I know it says a lot for, them as actors and actresses, but that was a tough watch. That scene where she's trying to seduce him is absolutely, I don't know, it just made me super uncomfortable. I think no matter how many times I see it, I'm just super uncomfortable every time. Um, it was originally planned, that scene actually, funny enough, was originally planned to be way more graphic, I think, and have more dialogue. Um, and the little actress, the little girl who plays Max in the movie, I think her name is Ariana Engineer or something like that. She's actually mostly deaf in real life, which I think was really cool because she was very good in the movie, very very good. And I don't mean playing a deaf child; I just mean very good in general. With a non-speaking role, she was quite believable. Um, there's there's a line in the movie actually that I'll just quote it or I'll just read it out here. So we have it. It must be hard to love an adopted child as much as your own. So this was originally cut from the promos, trailers, but it still remains in the movie, which I thought was quite odd. There was a lot of complaints from parents, and I'm actually surprised that they got away with this even in 2009, because I know nowadays you probably wouldn't get away with that at all. There was a subplot in the movie as well that was also cut out that revolved around Esther torturing animals, small animals and stuff. Um, there's actually something that a lot of people don't spot in the movie. So in the scene where the Colemans come to take Esther from the orphanage, if you watch carefully, you can actually see that Sister Abigail is crossing her fingers behind her back. So that's already alluding to she knows that something is up with the child. And I'm not sure whether it's she just hopes that nothing bad's going to happen, or it's more like a thank fuck we got rid of her kind of a thing, and I hope I don't have to see her again or deal with her. But upon researching it, I didn't see anywhere that that was mentioned or it was supposed to be for any particular reason, so I'm not sure. Earlier drafts of the script included more info about Esther's past and explains why she attempts to seduce her adoptive fathers. Apparently, she was molested by her father for years, starting when she was an infant, destroying any future chance of her having her own children. Her father took her father later took another lover, telling Esther that because of her condition, she could never be a real woman. She murdered them both and was ultimately sent to the Saarn Institute. After escaping from Saarn, she worked as a prostitute in Estonia for a while. Well, when she was arrested for this, she kept up the pretense of being a child to stay out of jail and was sent to an orphanage. Esther sees herself as trapped inside the body of a child, and it disgusts her. She wants to grow up and to be a wife, a mother, a lover, what her father considered a real woman. And she tries to love where she thought She tries to find love where she thought she once had it as a child with her new father. In early drafts of the script, Kate and John go to the orphanage, not to see girls for the first time, but to bring presents to Yolanda, a 7-year-old Puerto Rican girl they had planned on taking home the next day. There they meet Esther. This scene plays it out almost exactly like it does in the finished movie. Although she impresses them, especially John, she finds out they have already planned to adopt the other little girl. The next morning, Sister Judith finds Yolanda hanging in the closet, and it is assumed that she died in a kid's game gone wrong, but implied that Esther killed her. John later suggests to Kate that they adopt Esther instead. There's a lot of stuff actually I didn't realize was cut out of this movie, and a lot of backstory that we may potentially see some of in this new prequel that's due out. I actually have a podcast coming out soon with director William Brent Bell, who is directing the prequel to Orphan. Not sure if it's called Orphan First Kill or it's just called Esther, but he did allude to going back to some of that stuff, so it'll be interesting to see her journey from Eastern Europe over and just her time in the mental hospital and different things like that. Overall, great movie. Great casting. The storyline is well thought out. Even though we don't get much of Esther's backstory, you can tell that they did think of everything and it did feel fully fleshed out. The entire build up to the reveal is great and keeps the viewers' full attention. The scene where we get the final reveal about Esther actually being an Estonian escaped mental patient who is 33 years old and goes by the name of Lena Klammer. The little backstory he gives us about the people she killed, her time in the Sarin Institute Hospital, and the reason why she wears the ribbons, because she was the most violent patient and wore a straitjacket for years. Escaped a year previous and hasn't been seen since. Watching her take the false teeth out to reveal them horrible, dirty teeth. The makeup team done a fantastic job of changing her completely, to be honest, during this scene. And they actually really did make me believe that she was a 33-year-old woman in a way. Very underrated movie, possibly Dark Castle's best work, and I love their work. The intelligence and the depth the film provides will shock most, as at face value, it seems like some kind of Annabelle style movie or possession movie. Honestly, can't recommend it enough. Like I said, I sat down with William recently, who's working on Esther or Orphan First Kill. Isabel is reprising her role as Esther. The movie is a prequel showing the whole lead up to her getting to the States. I can't wait to see it, honestly. And from the sounds of things from him, we're in for a real treat, to be honest. Greg is bouncing. Okay. Cheers, man. Swedish Horror, sorry. The Skarsgårds have a lot of good horror movies under the belt. Yeah, they surely do. Some iconic ones, actually, to be honest with you. Um, yeah, that's very good movie though. Very good. The only thing I will say is I'm actually surprised that it's taken like 11 years or whatever for a sequel to come out. I I, I think it will be super popular, but at the time I kind of felt like I was like, oh, it's over a decade now. Was it too little, too late? Like, is there any point in doing a sequel right now? But I mean, I guess if we're talking about it, I guess there must be a reason to do it. So now we're going to come to the last section of the stream this week, and it is just a quick news breakdown from the past week. I'm not going to go too in depth with any of this stuff. Like I said, the setup isn't finished this week. I'm a little bit under the weather, so I do kind of want to wrap it up. But we will take a quick look at some horror news. So we have a female lead cast in the Hellraiser reboot for Spyglass. So Illuminati has claimed that the upcoming reboot will feature a female Pinhead. Previously, they revealed that the developers were looking for a female lead to play a gender-swapped Pinhead in a reinvention of the classic character. Very interesting. Don't know if I'm sold on a female Pinhead, to be honest. That's another one of those characters that I think it's very hard to fill the boots of Doug Bradley. It kind of feels like Freddy in a way, and when we see someone else's Pinhead, it just doesn't really work out. And I hope it's not just female Pinhead for the sake of being able to do something different. I really hope that's not the case. Shudder announced that they acquired the worldwide rights for VHS 94. So, in this sequel, after the discovery of a mysterious videotape, a brutish police SWAT team launch a high intensity raid on a remote warehouse, only to discover a sinister cult compound whose collection of pre recorded material uncovers a nightmarish conspiracy. This sounds really interesting. Always enjoyed those movies. I remember coming across the original one years back when it came out, and I just thought it was absolutely. I was actually blown away by it, to be honest with you. Let's see. A Swedish Horror Nerd has something here. I know made a Swedish movie from the 80s where he is a mental patient that is like a serial killer, but I think it's more like a thriller. Yeah, I like them too, though. There's definitely lines you can cross between thrillers and horror movies, and sometimes they get lumped together, which I don't mind too much. Um, Things like The Stepfather, The Hitcher. I don't know if you'd call them straight up horror, but they do get put into those categories quite often by things like Netflix and stuff like that. We got a new synopsis for the 2021 reboot of Candyman, or sequel, or whatever you want to call it. Um, so I'm just going to read this out. Let's see. For as long as residents can remember, the housing projects of Chicago's Cabrini Green neighborhood were terrorized by a word of mouth ghost story about a supernatural killer with a hook for a hand, easily summoned by those daring to repeat his name 5 times into the mirror. In the present day, a decade after the last of the Cabrini Towers were torn down, visual artist Anthony McCoy and his partner, gallery director Brianna Cartwright, move into a luxury loft condo in Cabrini. Now gentrified beyond recognition and inhabited by upwardly mobile millennials, with Anthony's painting career on the brink of stalling, a chance encounter with a Cabrini Green old-timer exposes him to the tragically horrific nature of the true story behind Candyman. Anxious to maintain his status in the Chicago art world, Anthony begins to explore the macabre details in his studio as fresh inspiration for paintings, knowing opening a door to a complex past that reveals his own sanity, that unravels his own sanity and unleashes a terrifying wave of violence that puts him on a collision course with destiny. Um, don't know how I feel about that, to be totally honest with you. It definitely feels very Jordan Peele-ish. I know, obviously, he's only producing it, but you can definitely feel his influence there. I'm not completely sold on how that sounds. Honestly, I have an awful feeling I'm going to be disappointed with this. As bad as that sounds, but I have a terrible feeling that I'm going to be really disappointed with this movie. I don't like saying that, but I do feel that way, unfortunately. We got an announcement: Wolf Creek 3 is coming out. So Variety has reported that Altitude Film Sales has taken the worldwide sales rights for the movie. In the movie, an American family take a dream trip to the Australian outback and soon draw the attention of notorious serial killer Mick Taylor. A hellish nightmare ensues as the couple's 2 children escape, only to be hunted by Australia's most infamous killer. John Jarrett is returning as the lead villain once again, and production is set to commence in late 2021 in South Australia. Always enjoyed the Wolf Creek movies and the series, so it'll be interesting to see him come back again. I do think, though, that this should be his one last hurrah, and we should just leave it alone after this. But I don't disagree with the with making this movie. I think there's a lot of people out there who want to see it, and it'll do quite well. American Horror Stories. We got some announcements about that. So, American Horror Story Universe is expanding, not only with a 10th season of the main series, but also with a brand new spin off, American Horror Stories. Both starting this summer. There was a poster release showing, yeah, so we have a poster that was released showing the murder house in the background, and then there's the rubber man, or it looks like a woman now, in the foreground of the image, which may suggest that we are going to revisit some locations and storylines from the main series. The first 2 episodes of Stories will release on July 15th, with the main series season 10 premiering on August 25th. So Ryan Murphy said that stories will give 1 hour contained episodes, which will delve into horror myths, legends, and lore over 7 episodes, while the main series will be titled American Horror Story Double Feature. Um, you know what? I have a sneaking suspicion that. Okay, so here's just a quick theory on this. I've been thinking about this a little bit. So we've got American Horror Stories coming out, and he says they're going to be self-contained, myths, lores, legends, whatever. And then the main series season is going to be called Double Feature. Now, if these are self-contained episodes that have to do with other things, I'm not sure why one of the promotional images was Murder House and a Rubber Man. I thought that a little bit odd, which leads me to believe, is stories and the main series going to cross over? Is that why the main series is called Double Feature? That we're going to have some crossover there maybe somehow? I'm not sure how that would work or if that even makes sense or there's any point in doing that, but it would be an interesting way of using the main series popularity to build out and flesh out the audience for this new thing that they're trying. There's also rumors floating around that Jake Gyllenhaal is going to star as the lead in the new Salem's Lot. New Line are set to bring a new Salem's Lot to the big screen, with multiple news outlets reporting that Jake Gyllenhaal may play the lead role. As of right now, this is only internet rumors, but we do know that Gary Dauberman, who many don't know wrote the Annabelle movies, he actually directed Annabelle Comes Home. He also co-wrote 2017's It and was the sole writer on It Chapter 2. Again, that sounds really interesting. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Salem's Lot. I honestly don't think he'll be in it, but I'm not sure why that's been mentioned. Yes, that's kind of it for this week, everybody. Apologies, like I said, for my low energy, my lack of preparation. I guess I had all these notes and everything prepared, but I've just kind of been so thrown off from not feeling very well and having half the setup done, and then I've had some issues with lag and the monitor turning black and different things. It's just been a pain. If you are a fan of these hangouts, these streams, I am gonna, within the next couple of weeks, I'm hoping to do these maybe twice a week. Different formats every time. It's not going to be like this. We're going to do a longer form one, maybe. Might do a watch party or something. But if you are a fan of these streams or the podcast, you can support me by checking out the following links. I'm going to bring them up on screen now in a second. So we have the first one here is buymeacoffee.com/class horrorcast. So basically, with that, donate anything you possibly can, and it goes into a pot, and I will be using it to buy new equipment, pay to have maybe more popular guests, or do some cool giveaways and stuff. I am going to do a giveaway very soon. Once I get the stream set up properly, I'm going to do the giveaway. I did actually have stuff here today to do it, but I want to promote this a bit more. This is just more like I guess training for me or practice, that when we do launch these streams properly, I don't promote these. I don't do anything with these right now, really. Um, Once I get this set up, it's then we'll do it. I also have a Patreon, so we have on Patreon, I'm under First Class Horror. Again, that helps me create more content and improve the quality. If you do become a patron, you get access to members only groups, polls, chats, different things like that. And depending on which tier you pick, we're going to have a once a month movie chat and AMAs, live streams, things that will be for members only. You, of course, nobody has to do any of that stuff. Nobody has to, donate or give me money or anything like that. That's not why I do it. All the likes, shares, comments are more than enough recommending the stream or the podcast to somebody that you think might like it, reviewing me on iTunes, anything like that. Follow me on Spotify. Anything like that is greatly appreciated. I am on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch under First Class Horror. I'm on Twitter at class_horror. And I'm anywhere you can find podcasts or listen to podcasts, or you can check out www.classhorrorcast.com. And yeah, like I said, anything you can do, share, like, follow, subscribe, is greatly appreciated. I will see everyone for next week's show. Apologies for some of the issues we had today and for cutting the stream a little bit short, but hopefully next week we'll be back on track and get things going properly. Thanks, guys.